creepy, and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Why was the genius scientist Nikola Tesla so obsessed with the numbers 3, 6, and 9? He once said, if you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. To understand this, we need to recognize that humans did not create mathematics. It is what we discovered, as it serves as the law of operation of the universe, the language of the universe. Here's what Tesla discovered. When doubling 1, we get 2. Doubling 2 yields 4. Doubling 4 gives us 8. Then, doubling 8 results in 16. The total of 16 is 7 when summed. Doubling 7 leads to 14, and total of 14 sums up to 5. Then, doubling 5 is 10, which reduces to 1 when added. This pattern continues endlessly without the appearance of the numbers 3, 6, or 9. Interestingly, when doubling 3, we get 6, and when doubling 6, we arrive at 12, whose sum is again 3. These two numbers complement each other. Only 9 is the highest independent number. Tesla said that these three numbers exist in a higher dimension that controls the three-dimensional world we live in. If 3 and 6 are yin and yang, then 9 is a higher entity that governs this whole universe.
I hear a theory that if you try to multiply any number by 9, the total of that number will always be 9. For example, 16 multiplied by 9 is equal 126. 1 plus 2 plus 6 equal 9. Is that right? I'm too lazy to fact check everything. Let me know what you think about it.
Elvis Presley had some strange and unique habits. For some reason, Elvis liked to spend a lot of time in the bathroom. In addition to making music, Elvis was known for taking frequent naps, sometimes for up to 3 hours in preparation for his energetic performances. When he was a teenager, he chose to sleep on a bed that looked like a coffin, because he believes it will make him sleep better. His sleep schedule is erratic, sometimes staying up all night and sleeping all day, which means he has never seen the sun. He also likes to eat strange food combinations, like peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Elvis collected police badges from different places because he was interested in law enforcement. He is also very good at karate and even incorporates karate moves into his live performances. Elvis had a unique habit of watching television in complete darkness with only the light from the TV. The king had a real TV set up in the backyard of Graceland, and he would often pull out a .357 Magnum from his collection of toy guns and blasted TV sets.
Sitting in the bathroom reading is an old-fashioned thing, and something I do as well. Why is it strange to watch TV in the dark?
These are just a list of things that will blow your mind that they occurred at the same time.
Oh, okay.
The cowboy era and the Victorian era happened at the same time.
Wow.
Interesting.
The woolly mammoths were still roaming the earth when the Great Pyramids were built.
Whoa.
No.
Machu Picchu and the Sistine Chapel were built only 33 years apart.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Abraham Lincoln and the samurai era were the same time.
Oh, that one's nuts.
That one's nuts.
I wasn't expecting that.
Okay, the Lincoln and Samurai one was shown in the movie The Last Samurai, with the Tom Cruise.
Hug a tree. Now, in order to really understand that, this is not a silly expression. If you think about what a tree is, and trees communicate with one another, trees are grounded deeply into the soil. And the information they get, everything they need comes from the soil, and it goes, look how high it goes. But the energy that is given off by a tree when you hug it is an energy that goes into you. I love it when I see somebody hugging a tree. I know that they know something that most people don't. Good grounding energy. And we all need grounding in the worst possible way, because we just go way off, half-cocked. Try to feel it. You probably won't feel anything, but imagine that you are feeling something. Just hug a tree and feel the roughness of the bark and so on. It'll make you feel good. It's good. And if more of us did that, then people wouldn't be laughing at you and saying, oh, well,
Right.
There's nothing derogatory about that. These people understand, and they're in tune, and they're grounded. The people who are fly off the handle and put you down and say awful things, they're not grounded. Don't give them too much energy
Right.
because it'll just bring you down.
Thanks for this information. People are catching up. Tree hugging become a thing now. Let me know how you feel about this.
So did you experience this timeline jump that we had this weekend? I thought I was crazy. I thought that it felt funny, there was something off, but when they announced Dr. Ruth and Richard Simmons just died this weekend, I knew something was up. Put it out there, a lot of people feel this way. So I believe, and this is just my belief, I believe that what happened, the attempt assassination of T, I think that we chose a more positive path. I think that there were two ways. I think that on the other side, it didn't happen the way that we're living right now. I think instinctively, we chose a different path. And I do believe that it is positive. I do believe that there's a lot of us have witnessed it. A lot of us just know in our heart of hearts that this is it. But this is perfect because we know our birth date. We know when we came here. Those two deaths that were reported, and we all know that they passed a long time ago, wasn't there on accident. It's there to let us know, oh no, we all jumped. We all jumped. But my question is, what else is different? What else is different? Like, if anybody sees anything that is different, that feels off, I think that we should tell each other, because I think there's power in that. I think that in some way, I believe that that is the purpose of reassurance. And maybe we are extremely good at something here. Maybe that our talents were honed back there to be here. I don't know. I'm very excited about it, but I overwhelmingly feel positive about the jump. I overwhelmingly feel positive. I do think that we did it for a purpose. I do think that there's a lot of us. I think that we got out of a negative timeline, and I think that this one will be way better.
They deleted all pictures of Richard Simmons wearing his famous headband. They are saying he never wore a headband.
When you're encountering the devil, you're encountering a loser. So I went to her house and she opened the door. There was a ceiling fan that was still, and it started spinning very, very slowly. And then all of a sudden, like spinning so fast, like airplane propeller fast.
Wow. How was the woman reacting as this happened when you entered?
She was in shock because it had never acted that violently. It was up to that point games, teasing, haunting kind of stuff. Right? Before it was sounds and feelings, now it was a manifestation of power, if you will.
Were you nervous, this being your first encounter?
I don't have a fear of evil. My fear is being separated from God. I don't have any other fear. You know, the devil is not nothing. He is dangerous. He can hurt people. So I went over to the kitchen counter, made holy water, let the music box goes off. And no problem, we'll take care of it. I did a blessing of the place, and in this blessing, I asked God to come in and take away any and every evil that is there. I started at a corner of the first floor, and I saved her uncle's room as the last one. So sure enough, there was the music box, and it's chiming away. And I reached down to pick up this music box, and I pick it up, no problem. But as soon as my hands touched it, it stopped chiming. There was no chime whatsoever from it. I opened it up. There was nothing inside this music box. There were no mechanical parts. There were no gears. There was no chiming mechanism. It was an empty box, nor was there ever anything in it.
Okay, this pastor has a podcast called The Exorcist Files. The stories are wild. He said, I'm not scared of evil. I'm scared of being separated from God. That is powerful. But if you're in Christ, you never be separated from God.
So everybody wants to know what humans sound like using the device. So I will totally be the guppy for that. Okay, so here we go. Here's the nodes. Is what humans sound like, well, at least what I sound like. So yeah, let me know what else I should do.
It would be cool to document your song according to certain moods, like anger, sadness, or fear.
The Philadelphia experiment in 1943. Have you ever heard of it? No. Hit me, baby. So this was the beginning of World War II. We were at war. Basically, the U.S. Navy ships were getting rocked their socks off in the Atlantic Ocean by the U-boats. To the American government, Navy, whatever, they started looking up different ways to cloak their ships. It was like these electrical run off a generator in these ships, and it would send out electric pulses to where the boat didn't give off a magnetic connection. But then supposedly they're like, well, we want to figure out how to get all the way invisible where they can't even see us. They did it, right? Flipped it on. The ship started to glow. Eyewitness report said there was like this green fog that started to surround it. Disappeared. Guess where it reappeared? Japan. It reappeared in the Virginia. What? Right offside of Virginia, 250 miles away. When it appeared in Virginia, it was actually 10 minutes before it disappeared.
Back in time?
Back in time. It disappeared again. And then reappeared back in Philadelphia 20 minutes from which it first disappeared.
You know what their source is? Their source is, trust me, bro.
Stephen King just praised the hell out of this horror film, so you guys know that if he likes something, I have to throw it on. I just got done watching The Coffee Table. Everybody in the horror community has been raving about it, and I wanted to see what the fuss was all about. This movie entails a husband and wife, and they are shopping at a furniture store and come across this coffee table. The wife really doesn't care for it, but Jesus, the husband, really likes it, so he ends up taking it home. Upon taking it home, he realizes one of the screws is missing. The wife, Maria, wants to get out for a little bit. She's tired and exhausted and she needs some alone time, so she leaves. However, Jesus experiences one of the most brutal accidents he will ever experience in his life. And unfortunately, something happens to their baby. And I gotta say, that triggered me quite a bit. So basically, the entire film is about the tension that is held because Jesus does not tell his wife right away. And they have dinner guests coming tonight, which are Jesus's brother and his girlfriend. So, how does he hide this from everybody? Well, he does, but it doesn't last for long. I'm not sure if I'm going to recommend this because I feel like it's very triggering, but it really was a good movie. I mean, I'll give it that. And it is in subtitles, but it really was worth it. It was just one of those movies where it's just full of tension. And I kept guessing, how the hell is Maria gonna find out? Let me know if you plan to watch The Coffee Table. I went ahead and watched this on Amazon Prime. If you're new here and love horror movies and everything spooky, I would love for you to follow.
I heard it's not a horror movie. It's more like psychological set film.
Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, Part 3.
Wait, ugly tech fix. You could spray something into the atmosphere to change. Spray pollution into the atmosphere to stop it warming. How do you do this? You start with a fleet of modified business jets and say 20,000 tons of sulfuric acid into the stratosphere every year, and each year you have to put a little more. And this doesn't, in the long run, mean that you can forget about cutting emissions. We will need to rein in.
No, we'll get to it eventually. In the meantime, we're shrouding the Earth in sulfuric acid.
So people are terrified about talking about this because they're scared that it will prevent us cutting emissions.
Right, and also that it's sulfuric acid.
We put 50 million tons of sulfuric acid in the air now as pollution, and it kills 1 million people a year worldwide.
Okay, but it'll be better if we put more in.
We're talking about 1% of that.
1% more. What happens to the sulfuric acid after it's sprayed? Does it just stay up there?
No, it rains down, but it's a tiny addition to what we're already doing.
Is there any possible way this could come back to bite us in the end?
It actually turns out to be an old idea. This was
Really?
known since President Johnson.
You ever look at those planes up there? They have contrails behind them. Maybe all those planes with the contrails, maybe they're actually spraying chemicals into the atmosphere right now, and Uncle Sam isn't telling us.
Seems extremely unlikely.
The fact that the United States is not telling something to its citizens, that seems extremely likely to me.
So they are spraying us all. How do they escape it? If it's bad for one, it's bad for all.
If you want the best books, the smartest people, the best fashion, look 100 years ago. Put away your phone and get yourself classic clothes and classic books. And you will finally become a man. Read number 1, Brothers Karamazov. Number 2, The Art of War. Number 3, Walden. Number 4, The Art of Money Getting. And finally, of course, number 5, Bushido. These books from all around the world will teach you timeless wisdom. We have founded the Green Book Circle. 1 book per month, building character, wealth, and freedom. Be honorable.
Okay. Number 1, Brothers Karamazov. Number 2, The Art of War. Number 3, Walden. Number 4, The Art of Money Getting. Number 5, Bushido, according to him. But you know what the best book is? You already know the answer, the Bible. You can't get any better than that.
Apparently, Dr. Phil, of all people, is telling us to get prepared. Dr. Phil's last episode focused on preppers. He had a couple of super serious preppers on, as well as an ex-military intelligence officer on. And something interesting is they all said they believe something is happening this year, 2024. They all specifically noted the possibility of a solar flare, grid shutdown. I know a lot of people have been talking about this, but I just never thought we'd see something like this on Dr. Phil of all places. But I want to know what you guys think. Is Dr. Phil for real, or is this just for show? It's weird. Let me know what you guys think, and if you want to hear about more crazy stuff, be sure to give me a follow.
I don't know what his source, but there are a lot of sources that are saying similar things.
I just discovered something in the Bible that was so good I could barely stay in my seat. So the Bible only gives us one story about Jesus being a kid. But what if I told you this story actually has more to do with you than it does his age? So make sure you're paying attention, because this text may just reveal something about yourself that you didn't even know. So in Luke chapter 2, 12-year-old Jesus and his parents are in Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. After the festival was over, while his parents were returning home, Jesus stayed behind, but his parents were unaware of it. Now watch this. Verse 44 says, thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. Then they began looking for him among relatives and friends. But when they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. Now this is where it gets good. Notice when they lost Jesus, it's when they were returning to their place of comfort. In other words, they didn't make communication with God a priority since they knew where they were headed. Now watch this. The text says they went on for a day and were unaware of Jesus not being with them. Now I don't have kids, but I'm sure losing one is scary. So how did they manage to lose Jesus? The same way you do when you stop making proximity a priority and you desire destination over devotion. Upon returning to the temple courts, they finally found Jesus, and his mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." Now watch his response. Jesus said, "Why were you searching for me? Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" Now remember, anytime God asks a question, it's not so he can figure something out about you, it's so you can figure something out about yourself. So why would Jesus say that? Because you have to remember, Jesus is 12 years old, and these are his parents. So in essence, they are closer to him than anyone else. So Jesus asked this question to influence a moment of reflection, but not just to his parents, to me and you as well. What he's saying is, you claim you know me so well, but you being anxious about this situation is an indication that you don't know me as well as you say you do. Because if you did, you would know that there's nothing to worry about. So I'm gonna tell you this, I'm through. Maybe it's been hard for you to hear from God because he's in the last place you left him after the decision you made without him. And you can go from person to person, but you will never receive the peace you're looking for until you return to Jesus.
Wow, I got chills when he said, "You will never revive the peace you are looking for until you return to Jesus." Amen.
Doors, but never what's behind them.
It's like thinking about what's behind the door. So, like, you know what I'm saying? When I'm in the room, it's like, damn, it's another room. So I just keep going in different rooms. So one of them times I open the door, I'm going to be afraid.
Yeah, you never had access to that sort of information.
I call it the room with the door behind it. You never get to that door. We always got through the first door, and we were so excited about being in that room that we never looked at the next door, right?
It's a level of success where it's a door. When you platinum and you getting 50,000 a show, I've been there. There's a door that you can walk in. But I was offered these doors. I just chose to go straight. And I haven't been platinum since.
There's a curtain. There's another room, and there's a curtain. And in that room is some shit. You're like, God damn, I didn't know y'all doing this back here.
You guys recognize Jim here? He hints towards what happens behind these doors.
You know, let me tell you something about celebrities. And let me tell you something about some big sports stars. If you honestly knew what some of your favorite big superstars really did behind closed doors, if you really knew what your favorite radio star, TV star, newscaster truly did behind closed doors, none of us are perfect. We all do weird things. We're all freaky and weird and crazy. But if you knew, you wouldn't follow half the people. You wouldn't listen.
Do you have
Jay-Z went through all the doors.
any supernatural experiences?
Dr. Peterson went to Nashville for a conference. He stayed in a rundown hotel with his colleagues. When he arrived, things were not as expected.
So I walked in, but the lobby was beautiful. And then right next door to the lobby, there was this huge restaurant. And I looked in the restaurant, there wasn't a single person there.
Jordan checked in, regardless of the eerie feel to the hotel. When he arrived upstairs, things felt different. It was old and smelt of smoke.
I went into my room, put my computer on the bed, put my luggage on the bed, and went out to have some barbecue.
When Jordan returned to his hotel room, he and his colleague were shocked at what they found.
I walked in and
If you're enjoying these story adaptations so far, like to follow the channel for more.
all the drawers in the cabinets were open. And not just a little bit open, like completely open.
And the strange thing was that his computer and luggage were still on the bed.
Well, that's weird. I didn't open those damn drawers. And if someone came in here to steal something, why didn't they take the computer? That'd be the logical thing to do. We closed all the drawers, and then we thought, well, maybe a big truck went by, and that's a pretty stupid hypothesis, but we couldn't think of anything else. So we kind of shook the cabinet to see if we could get the doors to open. We'd shut all the drawers. And when we turned around, the damn drawer on the desk was open again.
He approached the open drawer, and what he finds is terrifying.
There was a Gideon Bible in there, and it was open, and it was open to the line that says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And I thought, well, that was pretty interesting. I closed that, closed the door. I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was weird, but whatever, it was weird.
That night, Jordan went to sleep, unknowing about what he was going to find out the following morning.
The next morning, I went downstairs to this girl, black girl, behind the counter. I walked up and I said, look, I don't want to alarm you.
He proceeded to tell the girl about his experiences the night before.
And she said, I don't want to alarm you, but we know this place is haunted. I went and talked to my graduate advisor, an older guy who had been in the hotel, and he said that the night before he had taken a shower, and when he came out, there were 2 drawers open in his room.
There are no such thing as ghosts. They're demons. They can shape shift.
Florida researchers have discovered papaya leaves used as a tea may have cancer-fighting abilities.
This is the tea extract?
The papaya tea extracts being tested show significant progress in preventing multiple types of cancer cells from growing. Researchers say the results are preliminary but encouraging.
You feed these cancer cell lines with these extracts, and then you look at how fast the cancer cell line would grow under that condition. And if the cancer cell line is killed, then they don't grow. And what we found is when you add the extract, they don't grow compared to control, which what we found is that the extract also regulate the immune system. In some cases, it activates the immune system cell to secrete different factors that can help to control the cancer cell line.
Dr. Dang says most drugs that kill cancer cells hurt your immune system.
Here in Indonesia, we cook it with fish or pork. My mother loves it. I don't. It's bitter.
Okay, some major updates on the Trump situation. So firstly, it is being investigated as an assassination attempt, making it the first one on a presidential candidate since Ronald Reagan in 1981. It has been over 40 years since something like this has happened. We initially thought that the shots came from within the crowd, but now we know that it didn't. It came from a man on a nearby roof on a building. Eyewitnesses at the scene said that they were outside the event when they noticed a guy literally bear crawling on a roof with a rifle. Immediately, they tried to get the attention of the police and the Secret Services, pointing to him saying, there is a guy up there and he has got a gun. Despite this, he still managed to go unnoticed for a number of minutes, which allowed him to take at least 5 shots before, and this is putting it very lightly, he was taken out by Secret Services. There is a video I don't recommend. looking for it, just save yourself. Biden has officially commented and been briefed on the situation. He said that he is praying for Trump and that there is no place in America for this kind of violence. It is sick and we cannot allow this to happen. We cannot be like this. And the same sort of messages are pouring in from leaders around the world right now. So in essence, just be prepared for this to be the only thing that you're going to be hearing about and seeing on social media for the next few days. Because not only is it shocking that someone was able to do this despite the massive security, but this is going to play such a huge role in the upcoming election. I mean, if you guys have seen the images that have come from this, regardless of your political affiliations, they are powerful. We are watching history unfold right in front of us right now. So I'll keep you guys updated. It is 4 a.m. in the morning. I haven't slept.
Go to sleep.
But it is worth it. All right. See you soon.
Shooter just won Trump the election.
There's a lady on TikTok talking about her encounter with vampires, so I might as well talk about mine. This New Year's Eve, I was driving Lyft, and I picked up an order, and it ended up being at like a place that used to be a church, but it wasn't a church anymore, obviously, if you saw the festivities that was going on. There were like people with cloaks and like dark hair and heavy eyeliner, and there was like a red glow from the building coming out. 4 guys got into my car. As soon as they got into the car, I felt a chill. And yes, it was winter, but it was a different kind of chill. I turned around and looked at them, and I immediately knew they were vampires. And it wasn't even just like a thought. It was more so a knowing. Before they got into the car, I was thinking like maybe they were devil worshippers because I had seen like a goat head and like the typical symbols that you see associated with that. But I was like, no, these are vampires. There were 2 brunettes and 2 blondes. They all had blue eyes. Not that mean anything, but their eyes were almost hypnotically blue. They were so clear. You could see through their, like, not their soul, but I can't even describe it. Their skin was white, but not white like crayon white, but it was very pale. But it was not a pale like, you know, some like white people are like, oh, I'm so pale. Even like red, people with red hair, how pale. It was still a different kind of pale, because even regular people, when they're pale, there's still some warmness to their skin. Like their skin looked
glowing,
cold. I don't know how to describe it, but it was more so the feeling of me knowing. Immediately, I start to panic. My heart is racing. I'm feeling like, is it too late to reject the call? Like, can I even ask them to leave the vehicle?
No.
And then I started thinking, okay, if I am panicking and my blood pressure is rising, then I'm like pushing more blood through my veins, which may mean that I may seem more appetizing to them. This is all stuff that's going through my mind. The man behind me, the blonde, who was like in the middle, touches my shoulder. And immediately, it's like somebody poured warm honey over me. Like that is the calm just spreading down my body. It was like immediately I felt relaxed. Almost like I was in a trance kind of there, but like watching myself. I can't even really describe it. And I knew at that moment that I wasn't necessarily in danger. So then the guy is like, well, our car is only a few blocks away, which I could tell from looking at the app. And he's like, but before we get there, we need you to answer a question. And you have to think very carefully about this. So now I'm like, okay, this answer is going to determine if I go home to my children or not. And it could just be my imagination and like me jumping the gun, and he could have been joking, but it didn't feel jokey. So he's like, okay, well, we have 2 separate cars. How would you group us together? Who should ride with who? What? So I'm like, I look back at them, and they're smiling, and they're kind of giggling. Now, their teeth don't look like regular teeth, but they don't look like the typical vampire teeth either. But they definitely did not look like human teeth. their canines were a little bit more pronounced, but not in a dramatic fake way. I can't even freaking describe it. And actually, if I had to describe them, to sketch them out right now, I couldn't even, because it's like they're a memory, but not like a typical memory, like a memory behind a memory. I can't describe it. But anyways, I knew it. I'm like, you're vampires. Yes. I heard the answer in my head. No, I'm looking at them through the, because I'm like, if they lunge for the jugular, I'm gonna crash us all. But I grouped the opposite hair colors together. And the guy said, well, why'd you do that? I said, I don't know. It just felt right. He said, excellent choice. He took out his phone and he's like, I'm going to start my car now. And I'm like, you can start your car from my car? And he's like, yeah, but we like you. You'll get home safe. Good. Like, you'll get home safe tonight. Have a good night. And I was like, yeah, I was kind of thinking that, you know, doing Lyft on New Year's Eve could be dangerous because, like, who knows what kind. I was trying to make it seem like I didn't think they were the danger, but just let them know, like, in case they heard me panicking. Oh, fucking went and saw the vampire. But anyways, they got out and they gave me my biggest tip of the night. You would think that would have been my last ride for the night, but no, I kept going. I made it home, and I didn't tell any other person about this story because, like, are you supposed to share vampire stories? I don't know. However, I just did. So just know that there are other beings in this world besides us, and maybe they're not all so dangerous.
The veil is getting thinner and thinner. Supernatural people and phenomenon will not be able to hide any longer.
After Secret Service Barbie, a highly trained member of the Secret Service, removes her weapon from its holster for the very first time in her career. She struggles to return her pea shooter as though it's her first day on the job. Fortuitously, her skills from a previous life as an amateur actress come into play, allowing her to convincingly mimic the swift draw of the weapon and scan the horizon for threats. Chewing her gum nonchalantly, she attempts to exude a tactical demeanor, reminiscent of a fusion between the Blues Brothers and Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh my goodness.
Despite her efforts, our agent's attempt to return her wireless hole punch to its home results in another failure. While she may have faltered at this most basic of tasks, she certainly looked cool while doing it.
Is this for real? Is she playing Melissa McCarthy role in the movie with Sandra Bullock? Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
Are so in tune with nature, they'll make a bird sound, they're talking to the bird, and the bird will show you where the honey is. And then there's a pack of 50 dogs following us, and the dogs aren't pets, they're hunting tools. So the dogs are the first line of defense. You saw the pictures. They're ripped, back muscles, six packs. The kids have six packs. So we're in a cave. Men sleeping on the top, women on the bottom. We wake up, there's another cave, and you see, oh, there's people in that cave. No, they're baboons. And they're pointing at us. They're like, look, they're coming. So I'm like, crazy, we're hunting baboons. They're like, there's tons of meat on them. It's enough to feed our family. Think about running again. I can't run at top speed for hours. These guys aren't sweating. I'm like, what's going on? We've been running for 5 hours. You guys aren't sweating.
When you are loving this life from birth, you evolve. Like those people who live on the sea have developed larger lungs and better eyes. There's one village in Indonesia and another one in Philippines.
Look, it's 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm in my favorite place in the world, or one of them at least. Let me show you why. Look at this. Bomba.
That is beautiful.
What the heck?
Wow.
I was here last year, and you guys thought it's a green screen. It's not a green screen. Jesus. What? You can't tell me you don't want to get proposed to here?
Oof.
Look at it, 5 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
But yeah, people are up.
Of course. Look at that. Beautiful.
Who wants to be my wife? Who wants to be my wife?
Bro, this place is topped.
Damn. That's crazy, dog. I still got sleep in my eyes. That's crazy. Look at that. Bump and grind. Oh my gosh. These ones are whining on each other. And you're telling me I should go on the hot air balloon tomorrow. Look how gas this. No, don't gas me up. Look at this. This is my boots. I'm playing the joint. The sun just hit my skin. And I'm going back to sleep. But look at this. You can't tell me this is not paradise.
You got so much energy for 5 a.m., my friend. But I'm adding this to my bucket list for real.
Have you ever smelled smoke for no reason? And you've double checked and nobody's burning anything in your house and nothing's on fire and the smell of smoke is prevalent? I'm going to tell you what that means today and what you can do with that information. Because what's happening in your field is you are getting messages from the spiritual realm when you smell smoke. Now, what that means and what to do about it is what I'll explain to you. But if you want to dive deeper into how to develop any of your psychic gifts and how they come into your body and into your field, make sure you use the link in my profile. You can find me on YouTube, and I have a specific Facebook group called Psychic Club that you are welcome to join. Okay, let's start with the common reasons why you're smelling smoke for no reason. And I'm going to put them in two categories, although there can be more. But the two primary categories are, number one, you have a spirit or a ghost in your home and they're giving you a sign that they're there. Sometimes it doesn't have more meaning than that. Sometimes it does. But often they're just saying, hey, I'm here. Number two, your spirit guide themselves are coming into your field and trying to get your attention. And here's what you should do. If you smell smoke for no reason, and actually I would say this also applies to if you smell roses or flowers or a scent of something and that thing is not in your field. If you are randomly smelling something that's not actually there, then I would pause, take a deep breath, and first acknowledge that you are receiving this sign, this signal. Just acknowledge it, speak it aloud. I smell, and just complete that sentence to whatever it is. And then I want you to contemplate what you are thinking about in the moment that happened. Meaning if you're in the middle of making a big decision in life, or if you have a project on the go, or you have a relationship that's, feels out of balance, whatever you were thinking about in that moment when that happened is likely the reason why the smoke has come into your field or the smell has come into your field. And that's how you can distinguish, is this just a ghost in my home getting my attention, or am I contemplating something that my spirit guides have come in and they want to guide me? And then of course, number three, you should write it down. And number four, make sure that you ask aloud for more information. If you don't know what it means, if you don't know why they're there, whether it's a spirit guide trying to give you a message or a ghost in your home, ask aloud. Acknowledge it, you've written it down, you've contemplated, ask aloud. Why are you here and what do you want me to know?
No, you rebuke it. In the name of Jesus, go.
You know what makes me special? I'm a queer.
Ugh.
Well, I told her, I said, look, I'm going to have to call the law on you if you don't leave. And she said, look, I'm going to stab myself. And when they get here, I'm going to tell them you did it. You're going to go to prison. You're going to lose every sponsor you had. The UFC's going to cut you. I'm going to take everything from you. She said, I will take everything from you. So I'm sitting here. I can't call the law. I don't know what to do at this point. And then she starts speaking in tongues because that demon had manifested. I'm no longer talking to the person. I said, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave. She looks at me and she says, you will have 3 children. They will all die and you will lose every fight for the rest of the year. So she cursed my family and she cursed my fighting career right before she left. And I'm not talking like curse words like F you and this. I'm talking, she cursed. And I said, in the name of Jesus Christ, she'll do nothing. Because at that point, that second, I became a Christian because I've seen what that name of Jesus Christ, if you just simply speak the name of Jesus, it will cast out demons. Even though I'm this rotten sinner who's hated Jesus his whole life because I didn't know him, the second I turned to Jesus Christ, that demon was casted out and she's gone.
Amen. I got goosebumps when he said, in the name of Jesus Christ, you will do nothing.
This was one of the world's first introductions at the time on a mass level to the world of snuff films. A while back, a group of American documentary filmmakers decided that they were going to venture into the Amazon rainforest to film a documentary about a cannibal community. There was going to be a director, scriptwriter, and 2 cameramen. They tell all of their friends about it. They'd been preparing for this trip for months now, and it's finally time. And then they just vanish in the Amazon rainforest, disappear into thin air. Professor Harold Monroe, an anthropologist from NYU, decides he's gonna run a little rescue mission to find the missing documentary makers. The plan is honestly horrendous. They're gonna infiltrate the cannibal community and try to figure out what happened and try to get the tapes back, try to find the documentary makers. He and his team end up finding out they're dead. There is a shrine that the community made where their skeletal remains are laid out, as well as their reels of film. The professor somehow is able to make a deal to leave with the reels of film, and he has no idea what's in them. He can't even play them until he gets back to New York. He goes back home, reviews this recovered footage, and it's like watching a real-life horror movie. The 4 filmmakers have a very rough start to their trip. A few days in, their guide, Felipe, is bitten by a venomous snake. There's nothing they can do about it. There's nobody around. It's too late. They're too deep into the forest to leave now and get him medical attention. Meaning either the venom is going to spread to the rest of his body or they have to cut his leg off. So they cut his leg off with a machete in the middle of the Amazon rainforest in an effort to save his life, but he ends up dying anyway. They just leave him behind. The group make it to the location of the cannibal community, and they see one of the younger community members walking by themselves. So what do? Do they ask him to introduce them to their community because they're making a documentary? No. They shoot him in the leg so that they can easily follow him back to his community-centered area. When they do, they just wage war from the get-go, which I'm so confused by. The 4 filmmakers, yes, they want a documentary, but they mainly want good footage. So they intimidate a whole tribe, kill a pet pig, herd the community members into a tent, burn the tent down. The professor keeps watching, and it just gets worse. The 3 male filmmakers film themselves taking turns R-wording a young girl. The only one trying to convince them to stop is the female screenwriter, but she tells them to stop because she argues, you guys are wasting precious film footage. We don't have that much film. You can see in the background that they're being watched by the locals. They know what the filmmakers are doing. The filmmakers later find the girl impaled on a wooden pole, meaning a pole went through her private area and then through her mouth, and she's impaled on it. She's dead. They state in the documentary that it's because she's no longer pure. They claim the locals killed her for her loss of virginity. But it's pretty clear from the way the filmmakers are talking about it, the professor has an inkling that they R-worded her and they killed her, and they set it up like this to get better footage. In the end, the community attacked the filmmakers for what they did to the girl. One of them, Jack, they use a large machete to cut off his private parts, and even after he's dead, they continue to mutilate his body. Faye, the screenwriter, is captured, stripped, gang essayed, beaten to death, and then ultimately beheaded. One of the other camera guys keeps trying to convince the other survivor, we have to go and try and save her, but he's not listening. He just keeps filming the assault on her from afar. Now, eventually, the last 2 filmmakers are located, killed, all the while their cameras keep rolling, and the footage is probably some of the most graphic, intense violence you can see on a screen. There's horrific torture, essay, animal cruelty, murder, cannibalism, all caught on camera. There's scenes of mutilation, severing of private parts. Professor Monroe would say he was left pondering who the real cannibals really are. The footage premiered in Milan, Italy.
What?
Where the man who had the footage and owned it and premiered the footage was promptly arrested. The man was arrested for animal cruelty and murder. This man argued in the court, please, you have to believe me. None of that is real. I'm a movie director. All of this is fake. None of it is real. You have to trust me. Look me up.
A movie similar to this would be The Green Inferno. I literally could not finish it. It's so gruesome.
That's exactly what you think those are. They look like little skulls, don't they? Well, wait until you see where they are, because they are at the Leprechaun City. And the Leprechaun City, I can't even believe this person is there. It's not someplace you want to hang out. But that's where they're at. It sort of shuts down if a human gets close, and I guess that's what's happened. But it's still lit up. I'd get out of there if I were you. It's leprechauns.
Why?
There is somebody in the Middle East. I don't know which country. Okay, I didn't get that. But there is someone in the Middle East, male person, who is going to rise into power. This person is going to rise into power over there, taking over several governments in that part of the world. And I don't know how that happens. I have no idea. But that's what I pick up on. And as that's happening, that person is going to move forward into Western countries, this hemisphere, and over into the UK. And it's systematically going to be understood that we are now going in one direction under one rulership, not a bunch of little rulerships. We all have our own countries. We all have our own political parties. We all have this, that, and the other. Even though the U.S. borders Mexico and Canada, each and every part of that has its own different group of people who govern over those countries. This is not the way of the future. And I'm sure I'm talking like within the next 15 years, but I'm going to say the next 2.5 years that Prince William's agenda is going to come front and center.
This is all written in the Bible. She's not saying anything that has already been said many years ago.
Did you know that a 13-year-old boy died because of cheese? If not, then you might want to hear about this. In July 2017, a 13-year-old student in London named Karambir Shima was having lunch with his fellow students at the school cafeteria. A fellow student who happened to sit a foot away from Chima asked his friend for a small piece of cheese as he was hungry. And rather than eating it, this student thought it'd be a funny prank to throw the cheese at another student. So he threw the cheese at the first person he saw and it landed on Chima's neck. Soon after, Chima suddenly fell to the floor and started to gasp for air. Paramedics later came onto the scene and took Chima to the hospital, but unfortunately, he passed away just days after. So, what really happened? Well, it turns out that Chima was severely allergic to wheat, gluten, all dairy products, eggs, and all nuts. And when the student flicked the cheese at Chima, it landed on his neck, which sent Chima into anaphylactic shock, ultimately killing him. And according to the unnamed student who threw the cheese at Chima, he claimed that he didn't know Chima was allergic to dairy and thought Chima was only allergic to bread.
That is not scary. That is just sad. Oh my God.
Guy named Jim Barfield has somehow figured out where all of King Solomon's treasures are, including the Ark of the Covenant.
Money.
Dude. So when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, there was this copper scroll, and forever they didn't really know what it meant. And he was a investigator for the fire department. So he's like, I kind of want to give this a shot. And he literally figured it out in like 15 minutes. He's like, this is not a piece of literature. He says, it's literally like a treasure map.
Dude, someone call Nicolas Cage right now.
He's just like looked at it from just like an investigative point of view. And he's like, oh, this is what it's saying. It's here, 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 and here. And then he went to this one rabbi and showed him. And at first this rabbi is just like, okay, you're an idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about. And he's like, can I show you? And he showed him. The rabbi stood up, grabbed his face and kissed him on each cheek and says, you have no idea what this means.
Wow.
And just like that, the government takes it all and he gets disappeared.
All magic is inherently evil. Reading your horoscope.
Here are 2 daily practices we all do that allow the devil to enter our lives.
Things may seem like they're entertaining, but that doesn't mean that the devil isn't using that in a very subtle way. I even mentioned the practice of knocking on wood. Has anybody ever knocked on wood? Do you know where the practice comes from? It's a druid practice, believing that spirits live in the trees. So when you knock on wood, you're asking the spirit that lives in the tree to come to your aid and to grant your request. But I just share that as an example of how things that have to do with the occult can become so mainstream that we don't even think about what they mean or what it is that we're doing.
All of these practices are condemned, and there's proof of this in the Bible.
We can even read in chapter 18 of the book of Deuteronomy, you must never practice black magic, be a fortune teller, witch, or sorcerer. You must never cast spells, ask ghosts or spirits for help, or consult the dead.
This is good. Do you know about this? Let me know how you feel about it in the comment.
Town has something that they're known for. Hangjin, South Korea. This small town in South Korea was known for every June, children disappear. That was what all the kids were told. And even though parents would say, no, it hasn't happened in such a long time. If you watch closely, if you go there maybe May, you're not going to see a lot of kids walking home alone, month of June. Even during May, you see parents starting to slowly rein in the leashes. You honestly won't see many kids out and about in general the entire month. It's a very tense 30 days. The minute May starts rolling around, parents are already preparing. They're canceling all of their plans. They're just gonna stay home after work every single night. If you ask one of the townspeople, hey, I'm new here, what's going on? Why is everybody acting so strange all of a sudden? Everybody seems on edge. They'll just sigh and respond, neither the heavens nor the earth knows what really happened. What does that mean? There had always been these superstitious rumors that the town would have to give up a child every single summer, usually a little girl, that something or someone is taking little girls away every June as some sort of annual sacrifice. It's hard to say if it's true. Some kids say it's kind of like the boogeyman. The boogeyman comes and snatches you every June. Others say it's just sensationalism. The truth is, a few girls went missing in June for a few years, and now it's a whole thing. It was a few years ago. 2 girls had gone missing, both in June, both 1 year apart. They were both walking home from elementary school, and they just kind of evaporated into thin air. It's like a hole opened up in the ground and just swallowed them up. There was no textbook left behind, no backpack, nothing. They just vanished, no evidence.
Africans are Hamites, the nomads are Semites, and the Europeans and Caucasians are Japhites. The Hamites and the Semites are originally dark-skinned people. But today in North Africa, you can have Berber people who are very light in complexion, who are actually Hamites, son of Canaan. In the Middle East, the Arabs and the Jews think that they are Semites, but this is not true. Some among the Arab-speaking population today can be descendants of original Semites who were dark-skinned. But many Arab speakers in the Middle East are descendants of Romans, they are Japhites, Turks, they are also Japhites, and Abbasids from the Caucasus, who are also Japhites. And the Ottoman slave trade Slavic people who are also Japhites. As for the Israelis, many of them are Ashkenazi Jews. Ashkenaz is son of Gomer, son of Japhet, so again, Japhites. This is the end of the world, and in these days, you have to know thyself.
This is interesting. So what happened to the Semites in the Middle East? Were they driven out or just ended up mixing with Romans?
We're going to want to sit down for this one because what you're about to see is the most vital jolt of reality that a coddled young generation like myself in modern America needs. And it comes from North Korean defector Yeonmi Park. I honestly left this video with gratitude for even the most ordinary things and values we take for granted. And I think that's exactly what students at the Atlantic University also realized when Yeonmi gave the vital contrast between the most brutal communist dictatorship that exists in the world today. Watch this clip before I tell you more about it.
Hi, I'm Alana. So since you've been in America, what is one thing that you think America or Americans take for granted that you love?
It's choice.
Choice.
I don't think Americans understand what a unique thing to have a choice. Choice to where you live, what you do, who you marry, what you even eat. When you go to restaurants, you have at least dozens of them to choose from. In North Korea, we don't have a cookbook because nobody can afford the ingredients to make different kinds of food. So I think that's what I see, that Americans don't understand how unique the way of life is here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alejandra. I'm from Venezuela, and I experienced not the same scenario, but obviously the dictator over there is a friend of Kim Jong-un, and I just have a question because the way I see the generation now is that they're so indoctrinated that there's pretty much no way to revert that damage that the left have caused. And do you think any possibility that we can change that in the near future, maybe?
Yeah, thank you. I definitely see that. I think, like people from Venezuela, Cuba, or Iran, and North Korea.
The only people that want socialism or communism have never lived it.
Studies have shown that if you use aluminum in your kitchen, so for example, utensils, cookware, aluminum foil, you are walking around with double the amount of aluminum in your blood compared to someone who doesn't. And And when they look at white blood cells in the same sample where they tested for aluminum, the white blood cells are showing oxidative damage, DNA damage. Oxidative stress is kind of like rust. Studies show that if it's wrapped around meat or anything acidic or anything with salt, or if you're combining your foil with another metal. So for example, you have your steak sitting on a stainless steel tray and then you cover it with aluminum foil. All of that increases the leaching of aluminum into your food. They've shown that the content of aluminum in food wrapped in aluminum foil can be up to 40 times higher than food not wrapped in aluminum. Ask yourself, do you really need to use aluminum, first of all? Because the impact on your health could be long-term, it's cumulative.
So I heard wood and copper are the way to go. Let me know how you feel about this.
For those who are keeping track at home, here's what we know about Thomas Matthew Crooks, the guy who tried to assassinate Donald Trump. He's 20 years old with no online presence, no social media accounts, has no friends. He left no manifesto, was a part of no groups, and just woke up one day and decided, hey, I'm going to go try and assassinate the former president all by himself with no help. He outsmarts the Secret Service. His parents, who are both psychologists, are shocked. And it took the feds 2 days to get into his phone, which of course had nothing. The most information we've gotten on this guy is a video from TMZ where he jokes about how well endowed he is. I'm not talking about money. So yeah, that's the story.
No online presence? Isn't it odd that he was wearing a YouTube channel's merch then?
There's a spirit world out there.
Eric Estrada never believed in the paranormal until this particular event.
February of '96, we went to the south of France and we stayed at this hotel called La Réserve de Beaulieu.
Eric decided to go on a horseback ride. The guide they were with offered him his cowboy hat as a friendly gesture, but this is when things turn horribly wrong.
So he takes the hat and he goes to give it to me, but he waves it like in front of the horse, and I fly off the horse and I land on a tree stump.
That night, he returns to the hotel in excruciating pain, unable to breathe. Eric calls the doctor, who he later goes to visit. They believe he could have a broken rib, but Eric refuses to go to hospital.
So later on, I'm in the room and I'm getting in bed and trying to get comfortable so I can go to sleep, get some rest. Even if I moved just a little bit, it would hurt. I open my eyes and I look over and I see a woman standing by the window. She had long dark hair and wearing like a half cap.
Evil is real, the devil is real, and enemies use witchcraft to hurt and trap people. Submit to God, call on Jesus, repent of your sins, folks.
This footage appeared on the internet, taken from 2 different cameras. It appears to show a winged creature climbing up the side of this church in Italy. Is this just an elaborate hoax with computer graphics, or is there a demonic creature lurking in the Vatican?
I think there's a cut scene from a movie involving demons. I forgot what it's called. Gargoyle? No, I don't know.
This is why you wear your life jacket. You never know what's going to happen when you come out here. That's the water line from back in the day. So he probably sunk this in about 100 feet of water. And now with the water going low, you can see what is left on it. And let's get a closer look at this. An old outboard on it. Had a live well. And I 100% guarantee that the guy who was driving this boat never thought that there would be fish swimming in and outside of his live well. This is your worst nightmare. Going out on a boating trip with some friends. Bad weather hits. The next thing you know, water starts to come in here, starts to splash over that. It starts to fill, so people start to jump off. And at the time of this boat sinking, it was a long ways to swim all the way over there. So 4 people possibly didn't make it out of this. Wear your life jackets. Make sure you know how to swim. Stay safe.
There's nowhere near 100 feet, even if it was all the way up.
Leaked video from Area 51 in 2003 shows a chained being that is believed to be one of the alien races visiting Earth for several decades. It's incredible to think that such videos exist. This means they possess extraterrestrial life forms, study them, and try to unlock the secrets of their technology. The primary goal is obviously to extract information about their technology. The scientists at Area 51 aim to understand this technology to reverse engineer it, reproduce it, master it, and gather information about potential populations in our galaxy. What's crazy is that this kind of video exists, especially since we've had several tangible proofs before, but those were quite old. We didn't know if all these creatures captured in crashed spacecraft on Earth were still alive. But 2003 is quite recent. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Hollywood, they know how to make stuff like this. Come on, man.
You know where public schools buy their food from for lunches?
Ooh,
Cisco.
Bali.
From the Department of Defense.
The DOD?
The DOD. It's a
DOD.
total scheme to where Department of Defense, they go out to these food companies and they get the contracts and then they turn around and sell it to the public school systems. They are in complete control over this profit line.
Oh, that's scary.
I think they said that the school lunches is the only thing that's profitable in public schools.
That would make sense.
It would make sense,
Yeah.
but like the school doesn't have a say in what they can get for lunch. They are totally dependent on the Department of Defense to provide the food.
Interesting.
It's just weird.
That
It's
is super weird.
Department of Defense controlling the school lunches, I thought was super weird. Just the
Corporations.
man wanting to get some moolah.
Mula mula.
Or what are they putting in that food? Any type of freaking chemicals they want?
Yeah, man.
MK Ultra.
Brainwashing.
You know what the K stands for? Kindergarten.
Oh.
Dang. Middle school. M.
Well, you gotta feed the future workers. Alright, folks, I'm going to end our video with these coming clips. Be kind to each other. There's a free gift below. And if you want to buy me a coffee or support me through Patreon, the links are in the description below. Thanks for staying till the end. Have a prosperous day and God bless.
Oh, that looks good. Miguel! What the fuck?
Look out. A carrot hot dog?
Take another bite. It's good for you.
What am I, a rabbit, dude? Are you serious?
No, but taste it though.
I'm not gonna taste.
Taste it.
You know what? I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna get mad.
Did you even?
I'm not gonna get mad. But that's that's rude.
You don't like carrots?
No.
Fingers.
You don't like carrots?
God, I want to like explore right now, but you know what? I know what you guys want. I know what you guys want, and I know what you're looking for, but you're not gonna get it. I'm gonna relax and I'm gonna calm down, and I'm gonna have a Tito's and cranberry, and I'm gonna calm down. What? Miguel, shame on you, brother. Why are you guys here anyway?
Are you
what?
crying? People actually do that. Do you know that?
People eat carrots like a freaking hot dog on a bun.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Stop pissing me off. You're not gonna...
Just try one.
For me.